Okay, so let's go to design. So I hope you would have remembered that under RES again. So I will keep repeating it so it would stick. We are ignoring manifests. We are ignoring Java, these for now, and we are working under the resources folder. Under this resources folder, we are concerned with layout and we are concerned with values. Why? The values folder contains this strings.xml file that we were just working on that is used for defining data that we are going to be using in our app. And if we remember, I told you all that under layouts there are XML layout files that determine how our app looks. So let's get into this design, and it's pretty simple. Simply double click on activity main.xml. It will be opened here, and because it's a layout file, we could begin working on some sort of design for the app. To get this design view, you need to be working on an XML layout file. So if we click on strings.xml here, notice we don't see anything. Main, we see Java code. Activity main, this is the layout file, and this is the design view for some device. You can see a list of the devices here, and you under this pixel tab, and you can select some device that you are familiar with, right? So I'll just leave the default that we have here, pixel 5 1080 blah blah. Good. We have three. Okay, we have a fourth one. This was updated sometime recently. Great. Usually there would be three: design, blueprint, and design and blueprint, right? So if you follow my mouse, you'll be at this little blue square here. This is simply which design option you want. So do you want to work in a design view, a blueprint view, or using both a design and a blueprint view? Whichever one is comfortable for you. I usually work solely in design view. And this design view, as I mentioned, is an existing virtual device, but it isn't the actual virtual device. It's a design view for that virtual device. So if we click on palette, right at the side of the blue hat that marks select design surface, we click on palette, and remember you can always give yourself more real estate by minimizing some windows. The palette would give us a list of all the widgets or controls or components that we want to use. So we know we want to create a form to receive data. So we want to put in some labels and some text fields. So we could go under text, and the Android equivalent of those things are text view and plain text. So the text view would give us the actual text view that we want to see. Okay, let me delete this text view. I need to explain something else for you all. Sorry about that. And the plain text would give us the field for receiving data. You all will know what a fragment is, and it will be pretty difficult for me to explain, but I'll try to give you all a quick overview, right? So a fragment is a sort of reusable component that you would want to write code in that you could reuse somewhere in your app. So your app would be doing something, and you may want to reuse the code without writing back. For example, this app that we are going to be doing here, we're gonna have two forms, and there are components of the forms that could possibly be done in a fragment where you could reload the fragment instead of writing the code twice. If we were to look at the website, this will give you a little understanding of what a fragment is. Notice here we see products 1 to 10, and notice here we see products 1 to 10. And if we look at the code, we would see here that products 1 to 10 was more or less duplicated. Actually, that would explain for you guys why you see S products here and simply product alone, right? Because I need to make the attribute names unique. So what a fragment would do is it would allow me to define this aspect of a form once, and I could share it. Well, share isn't the correct word, but I could reuse it in each of these instances of the form without having duplicated the code. So it may mean French to you all now, but I try to impart as much as we go along the way. So let's not get too bogged down with the fragment. The nice people at AndroidStudio provided us with two fragments to begin with, and this is the joys of not having to use templates. By the way, you get to define things the way you want to define it. You don't get stuck and pigeonholed into what is provided for you. We'll click on fragment first, and we could delete hello first fragment. Yeah, we could safely delete that. We'll replace it. So we'll replace first fragment with a text view, and since I define, I believe, 3 or 4 of them, I'll drag 3 or 4 of them onto the canvas, my design surface, and then I'll drag across here the boxes where we're gonna get data, and you can actually just copy and paste. I don't encourage students to do this because you'll have some house cleaning to do, right? So that's so nice. Drag and drop, pretty user friendly. Now I'm going to be doing something here. This is called constraining your views. And why would you want to constrain views? We want to constrain views because, remember, this is a design surface. It's abstract. And when you want to run your actual app design, Android needs to know how to position these views and components relative to your virtual or real device. So what constraining the views do is it gives Android some measurement to work with. So if you look here, you see 16 and see 20. That gives it an idea of where it needs to position these views on a real device or virtual device. So usually when constraining views, you would need to set a minimum of 2 constraints. Usually there are sometimes you would need 3, right? You usually won't need more than 2 or 3, right? So even though they provide you with 4, you don't usually require 4 constraints, right? That would be giving yourselves a lot of extra work.